Hey Jessica, how you doing today?
I am fantastic. Yeah.
Glad to hear
Yeah,
it.
feeling good. Feeling strong. How are you?
Glad to hear it. Feeling good. Feeling good. I'm excited to be recording, talking about interesting IELTS stuff again. So here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the question today.
Yes.
Well, maybe we should tell our listeners the question
We should
first
probably tell them the question.
before, I move on.
Yeah. Why don't you tell them the question, Jessica? Go ahead, throw
Okay,
it out
so
there.
so this is something we get quite often. I think
Mm.
this sums up a lot of listeners' worries. Um, this listener is worried about the listening test, about keeping up on the listening test, specifically because accents, she or he, I'm not sure, but this person is worried about accents and they're worried about just getting the answers in time.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
combination of those two things, being able to comprehend an answer on the listening
Yeah,
test.
and I understand that fear because I think that's also a fear for general English students out in the world. We hear a lot of
Yeah,
business English students telling us that they're afraid they won't understand something on the phone. That is terrifying, right?
that is so hard. I remember
Yeah.
like trying to, to call someone in Taiwan or something and being terrified that I would
Wow.
have to try and understand Chinese. I'm like, oh,
Wow,
it's
that's
so scary.
scary. Yeah, it's really scary, especially when the stakes are high. You're in a business
Yeah,
situation where you want to keep your job. So now we put that into an
right.
IELTS situation and the stakes are super high. We know, like our dreams are on the line here, right? And
Yeah.
wow. So what can we do, Jessica? I mean, what's the solution to help our listeners?
So it's a fun solution. This
Cool. We
this
like fun
first
solutions here at
this
IELTS
first
Energy.
thing. It's basically just getting used to different accents. So finding media from
Mhm.
other countries
Yeah.
and getting used to their accents.
Yeah.
There are so many awesome British shows, and not as many, but some also awesome Australian shows, and some from New Zealand. I mean,
Mm.
you can find this stuff on Netflix. Netflix has tons
Oh yeah.
of British English and other content on there. And so I thought maybe we could recommend some of our favorites.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Some of the
Let's
shows
recommend
and
them.
movies and stuff.
Totally.
There's a show from New Zealand that I totally now.
Yeah.
Um, oh darn, it's like Meeting the Johnsons or Keeping Up with the Johnsons. It's one of those. It's something the Johnsons.
That sounds
Um,
interesting.
and it's about these young, okay, so it's brothers and they're actually Norse gods. They're like the actual gods from Norway who are just, immortal, and they realize they're a god when they turn 21 or something, and
Oh.
how they deal with modern life and stuff. It's hilarious and I love it.
Oh, so it's kind of
The
like a sci-fi type
Yeah,
thing. Okay.
which is totally up my
That
alley.
sounds
You
pretty
know me.
cool.
So,
Yeah.
okay, Johnsons, I just remembered, the Mighty
So,
Johnsons.
yeah, okay, so that would help us get ready for the New Zealand accent, right? The Australian, New Zealand accent, they're a little
Right.
bit different, but
I think
similar.
I
Mm-hmm.
think Aussie and New Zealand, it's close enough, you guys, that if you get used to one, you'll be able to understand the other. So,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
absolutely.
my first recommendation for Kiwi Aussie English. Get into a series, get into a story that you like the characters.
Absolutely. And let's see. I don't know that I can recommend any British English shows. I know that my roommate here likes Downtown Abbey. She watches that a lot. Now,
It's not Downtown Abbey.
Downton,
It's
Downton.
Downton Abbey, please.
Right. Get it right.
No, but that show is lovely. It's just a soap opera, but it seriously is just a soap opera, but a very high quality
A
soap opera.
high quality soap opera. Yeah, so that's one. If our listeners like soap operas, they can check that
Yeah.
out. What else do you like, Jessica? Anything?
So, yeah, like more sci-fi stuff, Doctor Who. There's like 1,000 seasons of Doctor Who. You could definitely find at least one season that you like.
Is
And
that
then
Brit?
there's stuff
Is
like
that
it's
British?
British.
That's British. Okay,
Hmm.
good. Okay,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Calling the Midwife is another British. Sherlock is a super cool BBC series.
Yep.
There's a sitcom that I really love called The Peep Show. It's hilarious, you guys.
The Peak
Also British
Show.
English.
Okay,
Peep,
cool.
Peep, The Peep
Okay, cool.
Show.
Awesome. There's so
Um,
much good stuff out there.
so much. So if you guys can get into one of these series, if you like sitcoms, you like sci-fi, you like soap operas, all of these recommendations you should check out.
Yeah.
And then remember to turn on the closed captioning, turn on those subtitles for the first couple episodes so you get used to the accent and you read along.
Okay, that's important. Yeah, because I imagine a lot of our listeners might be used to the American accent from American movies.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Of course. Friends. Everyone watches Friends. So we need to diversify our materials a little bit here and branch out a little. Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly. And so for podcasts, right? Our friend over at Real Life Radio, Real Life English.
Real Life Radio. Yeah. Aussie, right?
Aussie.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a really good Australian accent, and his episodes are quite long also. So yeah, you get a lot of material there.
Absolutely. We have Luke from Luke's English podcast, and he's a friend of ours too. And so that's the British English, right? You'll get that.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So there's quite a few. There's Ron at English Funcast. Now, he's from Canada, so his accent is similar to ours, but there are certain things that he says that are different. So you guys could check in with Ron, and his episodes are funny. He's a comedian. He's a stand-up comedian in Toronto.
Awesome.
So check out Ron. Yeah.
Cool. So we've given you lots of suggestions, guys. These are all resources for you. Fun resources. Find something you're interested in, especially a series, guys, because then you get really accustomed to the accent. You get used to it. And you get into the characters and the story. Your comprehension goes up a lot if you are interested. So yeah, so that's fantastic, guys. Find some resources you like. Now, when it comes to test practice, when it comes to taking this comprehension to the test, we already told you in the last episode, do not take notes. So that's another mistake that this listener is making. Do not take notes. Let me summarize the simple strategy for you guys. Okay. So what you do, you listen very carefully to the introduction and the directions, okay? And then you have time to look at the questions. In that time, underline keywords. Keywords are the verbs, the nouns, the names, underlined important words. Predict answers. What do you need? You need a noun. You need an adjective. Think about what you're listening for, okay? The answers are always, always, always next to the keywords.
Okay.
And then when they start speaking, use your pen or your finger or your pencil. Follow along, follow the keywords. Listen for those keywords. Fill in the answer as soon as you hear it, okay? As soon as you hear it, fill it in. Right away. And then just follow along, guys. Okay? If you miss one, luckily you underline the keywords. So just keep track that way, okay? You won't get lost. But then you will also have time at the end of questions 1 to 10 or what have you. You'll have time to look back at your answers and, you know, make corrections, check spelling, stuff like that. So IELTS is very well designed, and it gives you time for predicting, for listening, and for checking. So just follow along, do what IELTS tells you, do what I tell you as far as the strategies. Have good preparation with the accents, and you will be as ready as possible for the test.
Awesome. And I think a big piece of what I'm taking out of today's episode, Jessica, is that by the time we get to our practice tests, and of course by the time we get to the IELTS test, we want to be so comfortable with our listening skills because we've had that balanced practice, right? We've had that general fluency practice. We've been practicing every day. And guys, there's no excuse anymore. You have your smartphones. You have podcasts on your smartphones. You have video on your smartphones. You can probably do Netflix on your smartphone. There's no excuse to not put in your 15 minutes of listening a day, right?
Exactly.
So by the time you get to the test, you are just at home with this language. That's the point. Yeah.
So if you know, we talk all the time about having balanced on this show. So, you know, and having a study plan. So if you really dedicate just 1 hour a day, right? 1 hour out of all the 24 hours into, you know, half of it watch a show or half of a show or part of a movie. The other half, read the newspaper, read a novel. If you do this every day, can you imagine how good your English is going to be? I mean, you're going to see improvement after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And definitely after a month or 2 months. My gosh. Imagine that. Yeah. And that's
it's
why
just a matter, just put in the time.
That's it. Putting in the time. Believing in your dream, right? Believe in your own dream. I think sometimes people give up on their dreams because they don't think they can pass the test, and that's why, Jessica, we put into our study plan for our course, our daily learning plan, we went and we handpicked episodes and materials and resources, and then we told you exactly what to do with those resources. So that's in our course. Or you could put together your own learning plan, which is not easy, but it's something you can do on your own.
Well, first of all, the lectures and the materials and the test practice, but that's balanced every day with resources that Lindsay and I handpicked to improve your overall English from different sources, from all of our knowledge and connection. Telling you what to do every day to match this with the test practice that we also made to give you exactly what you need. So again, that's, I think, one of the strongest things of our course is telling you how to prepare every that you're just the most relaxed person in the room.
Exactly. That's it. And it's not just knowing which resources to use. It's knowing what to do with those resources, right, Jessica? So we tell you exactly what activity to do. How should you use that resource in your daily study plan? Okay. All right. This has been good. So now we know what to do to really get a handle. This is a big issue, Jessica. I hear this all the time from our listeners. The listening, they feel out of control, right? We feel like we're not in control of what's happening on the test. That's just,
it makes my heart beat faster just like thinking about that panic, because I know that feeling. Like you get a little bit sweaty, a little bit shaky, your heart beats fast. Like,
right.
We don't want you to feel that way, guys. I don't want anybody to feel that
That's right. And you guys are on the right track by starting with listening to this podcast, but it doesn't end here. This is your starting point. And then you move forward with the resources that you really need. So awesome. Let's wrap it up for this one, Jessica. Thanks for hanging out. And
my pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
All right. Have a good day. Bye.
All right. Bye.